once again, Retreat Church. You know, fighting for what is right and true is worth it for those who doubt, right? Because if you're in a position as a Christian where your faith is strong, you're kind of on one end of this spectrum that we're going to deal with today. Your faith is strong, your hope is secure, you know what you believe and why, and you're confident. And on the other end of this spectrum, there are those that totally disagree with you and your stance as a Christian. And they are just as confident as you are in their position. And then there's those in the middle, those that are struggling with their faith, those that are kind of caught with a lot of evidence on both sides and dealing with ideas and thoughts and theologies and philosophies on both ends of the spectrum. But as a Christian, what has happened is that those of us on the confident side have become very passive. We're afraid to be offensive. We're afraid to be labeled judgmental. We're afraid to be labeled as fanatics. We're afraid, and we've kind of bought into this lie that if we contend for where we are, then somehow we're going to push people far away. So we just want to kind of keep them coming, let them be around. Don't lean on them too hard. Don't tell them that they're wrong. Christians have bought into that lie. And what is happening is those on the extreme other place that believe very differently than Christians, they're not afraid to be judgmental. They're not afraid to be labeled as harsh. They're not afraid to push people away from them. They're bold and they're argumentative and they're brash. And then there's those in the middle and their lives are at stake. And some of those people are your children. Some of those people are the teenagers in your life and young adults who maybe were raised in the church, but then because of the passivity of the church have kind of been pulled away from the things that they were raised to be true. And so I want to challenge you today as you watch this short video, that you would take a look at this very short book that we call the book of Jude, towards the end of your New Testament. And you would consider how Jude describes a Christian, that they are beloved, that they are kept, that they are called. I want you to consider what that means. And very briefly here, I want to make note that those who are followers of Jesus, we've been called. We've been called into a relationship with Jesus for sure, but we've been called to follow Jesus in the spreading of the gospel and the implementation of his kingdom. And we're also called to be like him and do the things that he's called us to do. And last I read the New Testament, Jesus didn't hold back. Jesus wasn't sheepish. Jesus wasn't afraid of being labeled. In fact, Jesus said some things that probably would have had him labeled today as judgmental, probably would have got Jesus canceled on social media platforms. But we're called to join him in that effort, not to shrink back and be afraid of the fight. And then we see how in Jude, how false teachers, they kind of just creep in. Sometimes they go unnoticed. They're ungodly. They pervert the grace of God into sensuality, and they deny the lordship of Jesus Christ. In other words, they focus all on the human side, on what you want, what desires you have inside of you, what makes you happy, what pleases you. And for the doubter, that sounds very, very, very convincing, doesn't it? Well, I want to challenge you today if you're being passive concerning those in your household, those in your communities. And I want you to understand the word that Jude uses that we translate into the English word contend. Now, there are three ways to contend. You can contend as an athlete. You're playing a game, right? You can contend as one who has a different opinion. Or you can contend earnestly as one that is being contentious, one that is being argumentative, one that is being passionate. And it is in that third sense that Jude challenges us to contend for the faith in the face of false teachings. You can do it. The Holy Spirit is within you. Don't shrink back, because we must embrace those who doubt and embrace seasons of doubt with the love of Jesus Christ and the calling that we have as Christians. God bless you. We'll see you next time.